Hello and welcome to Sacred Democracy. This is episode 5. I am Maddi Cheers and I am thrilled to bring to you our episode on sacred renewal. Releasing fear, accepting loss, and celebrating change. And actually, this was inspired by one of our guests, Jennifer Hickman. Some time and talked about how people are really having a hard time, fears with their anxiety around what everybody's dealing with now around COVID-19 and around being isolated and being quarantined. So before we really get into the entire discussion, I'm just going to ask everybody who's joining me to please introduce ourselves. Jennifer, we're going to talk to you first, turn it to you first to tell us who you are and why you're here.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. So it's such a gift. I'm in so much gratitude to be on this call and to be able to reach out to people who may just need to be connected in this way during this time. I've been a healing practitioner for over 17 years. I work with flower essences and I've studied curanderismo for many years with an individual teacher, one-on-one, and with Bob. And obviously, I consider everyone on this show right now to be my teachers as well. With all of you.
Thanks, Jennifer. We're looking forward to being with you. Bernadette and Mino.
Yes, so I'm Bernadette Torres, and this is Ashéninka Mino, and we make up Shabeta's Healing Garden, and we work with sacred tobacco. Mino does traditional healing from his community, from the Ashéninka people, and I do the translations for him. I also work with the plants, and I make up different medicinal remedios with the plants. And I was raised up in the mountains of Black Lake, Taos Mountains, and then in Mora by both my mother and my father were the ones that taught me how to use plants and to recognize them. And then throughout my lifetime, I've just built on that with other people. But Mino's my most recent teacher, and where I've learned to work predominantly with tobacco. And Mino, ¿quieres decir algo?
Hi, everybody. My name is Mino. I am from Peru. My community is Ashéninka Maranki. Kosatsu palene nonyane paita ninka iro take nonyani ronyaka aviro kaite saikita tsriaka akante nampitskika yotero capichene aitoene quinta avacotero akantumarone avintarons arive yokantarinal nonyani ronyaka oshecha nakiraka.
And you said something about Ashéninka. Yes, dicho.
Pues muchas gracias a cada uno de ustedes. Estamos aquí como para conversar un poco, platicar, no sé, algunas situaciones de la vida real. Entonces, pues, en lo que se pueda podemos compartir. Gracias.
So he's just saying hello to everybody, and he's happy to be here, and we're going to share whatever's being asked of us today.
Excellent. And Robert Vetter.
I'm here as Maddie's husband, but I'm also here to speak as a cultural anthropologist and a practitioner of Mesoamericanismo.
Thank you all for being here. I want to say that this morning I was listening to Hopi elder Thomas Banyaka speak. It was an old speech that he gave in 1992 and another one from 1973. But at the end, he said something that I think really sums up why we are here. It was a very simple quote. He said, "Solving the world's problems is not a political issue. It is a spiritual issue." And I think that is really what all of us have in common. And I do think that is what we're looking at. A lot of what people are suffering today is because I don't think they understand that the solutions are not going to be the old ones from our culture. The things that we're used to doing, these hierarchical, political, looking to somebody to blame, looking to somebody to save us, that those solutions are not the solutions that are going to get us out of this or get us to a place where we are making real change in the world. So that one quote, I think, is something that sums up why or any advice, any recommendations you have to people who are dealing with all of this fear and anxiety and not being able to release the fear, not being able to accept the loss, because we don't tend to grieve. We don't tend to recognize that we're in grieving when we lose a way of life. If we lose a person, we say we're in grief. And in Indigenous culture, where you go through many rites of passage over your life, you're used to accepting loss and accepting change and even celebrating change. But we do not have that in our culture. And I think, too, that's why we even see healers and doctors dealing with fear and anxiety. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys if somebody has something they'd like to say.
Well, the thing that's been coming up, well, I've been having a lot of discussions with a lot of people, but one of the things that's been coming up strongly for me is PTSD. You know, that this is like something that none of us, I mean, it's we've never been in this situation before, so none of us really know how to proceed, except for that we suffered in our own lifetime different situations, different traumas. And so maybe depending on the traumas that we have suffered through and that we've overcome and we've been challenged with, and we've been able to do the work to be in and build up the strength to overcome those traumas, we're ready for this. We can do this. But it is something that's new, and it's something that's going to cause fear for everybody on every level to some degree. And it's going to bring up those things from the past too. So we're sitting at home and we're getting tired by 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. Part of it, because this is very emotional. We're thinking about our family. We're thinking about our friends. We're thinking about the community, and people are coming to us, you know, because we are leaders in this community. People will approach us and ask us, "What do we do? How can we take care of ourselves?" And the best answers that I have are the things that I'm going to do for myself, and for everybody. You know, we're all on different pathways. You know, we've all been doing different things with our lifetime. So whatever our lifestyle is, suddenly right now I can't give you my array of herbs to assist you if you haven't been using herbs. They may help you slightly, but it's not just suddenly going to be this magical pill that you can take and you're going to feel okay. And I have to say that even for myself, I am still, you know, I struggle with sleep. I struggle with some days where I'm feeling, you know, overwhelmed. I'm feeling pressure. I'm feeling like I'm walking through water instead of air. I feel like there's so much resistance to get things done. And so I think it's just, as we move through this, we'll get more understanding of it. But for right now, I don't think there's one answer. I think we are all in this together, and so that's why we're staying home, is so that we're taking care of others. Maybe we do have strong immune systems, and we'd be able to fight this if we ended up getting sick. But we could also be like a, you know, road. Using this virus around, we don't want to be responsible for others ill. So that's what I'm feeling right now. I get up in the morning time. I am burning my plants. I'm burning cedar, tobacco, lavender, and sage, and then so that's what I do in the morning time to get myself going. And then And then by the end of the day, I'm either drumming or singing or rattling to, put myself to sleep, to help myself go into a state. But I look at everybody looks like they might be lack of sleep. They're stressed. They're worried about something. And people who have been coming, because people have been coming and bringing stuff, leaving stuff at the door for me. And when I see them, I pick up the same thing from the people that are coming here. People are afraid. And however we express that fear, some of us get angry. Some of us just want to fight. But how we deal with it, how we're expressing it may come out a little bit different for everybody. I think it's really important that all of us stay grounded in our spirituality. To go to the churches, we can't do our lodges now, but we can still do virtual. We can still, when we're praying, we can imagine all of our friends, all of our family, all of our community in that circle with us. And when we start breathing through it and drumming and rattling, see each other, feel each other, and connect in that manner, because we're a community and we need each other to get through this. So that's a little bit on my part.
Does Mino have something? We have people who are going to understand him listening in Spanish, and you can translate for him.
Escuchando sobre cómo está pasando con las emociones, la persona se está siguiendo.
Pues yo voy a hablar un poco en mi tercer idioma, pues es el castellano.
So you can speak in Castilian Spanish.
Pues en relación a esto, lo que es el corona, pues en realidad para cada uno que hemos aprendido un poco de las tradiciones desde las culturas y también desde los tiempos inmemoriales, pues es alarmante. Cada persona ha nacido ya por naturaleza, ¿no? La naturaleza es alegría, es gozo, es pena, pero también hay miedos y temores. Pero esos miedos y esos temores, como decía mi abuelo, es el sueño que viene a plantar para nosotros tener inseguridad. Entonces, dentro de nuestras tradiciones hay para quemar cosas que decía mi abuelo, hay que quemar esto para que pueda poner una barrera y no puede entrar esos sueños, para que pueda bajar seguridad que no tiene. Entonces, pues se quemaba muchos los que se conocían, ¿no? Acá en Chamairo, Basunka Viniri, Basune Sheri, cada cual se tenía que quemar como para poner barrera. Entonces, esto formaba pues un vínculo, ¿no? Un vínculo de seguridad. Y es más que nada cuando uno se tiene una conexión, ¿no? Conexión, decimos nosotros el poder infinito. Apawa, didak pawa, natsu, aroka, akanzu pasne, akanzu hinchas, pasne caras. Todo esto se junta, entonces para poder trabajar. Entonces, lo primero que se trata de hacer es utilizar lo que nosotros tenemos. Hay que dejar lo que tienen que hacer los programas, digamos, nacionales, internacionales. Está bien que hagan su trabajo, pero para nosotros hay que utilizar lo que está a la mano. La clavo de olor, romero, albahaca y otro que ya se conoce de hace mucho tiempo. A veces sabemos, pero tampoco no lo sabemos, ¿no? como estamos cada día muy preocupados como para poder avanzar, hacer, conseguir, tratar de negociar, entonces hasta nos olvidamos, ¿no? Inconscientemente lo sabemos, pero no lo sabemos también, porque la práctica siempre se hace. Entonces, lo que tenemos que es reutilizar, volver a nuestras raíces, ¿no? A regresar a nuestras raíces para poder fortalecer. Mi hermana es médico naturista, ella dice, hay que utilizar lo que ya tenemos, lo que está acá, lo que es práctico. No voy a esperar todavía que el programa nacional o local o del gobierno local venga con su medicina, ya tenemos. Entonces, eso hay que utilizar. Arriba de paso.
So, what he's saying is back to our roots that we have already in our hands or to us the things that can help. Let's not wait for national or local, the government to take care of us. We have in our cabinets cinnamon and clove and ginger. He named several plants and he named some in his traditional language too, but basically what he's saying is we already have the plants growing in our garden or on our shelves as spices in the food that we cook. And we should be using these things to take care of ourselves right now. Return to that. And even if we think we don't know or we think we have forgotten because we haven't been practicing these things, we know there's a part of us that knows internally. It is there. It's in our DNA. Our ancestors carried it, passed it on to us, and now we carry it within there. And so we just have to pray and ask for that help. And then look in your cabinets and see what's in there.
Yeah, I mean, just in the last week, I've seen the post, well, a couple of weeks ago, posts out of China about drinking hot lemon water. And that's
Simple.
That's been working. About eating. Somebody in Europe, I think it was from Italy, where they posted, make sure you're making lots of chicken soup with garlic. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
that's good for you. So people are going back to their home remedies because the national governments are not equipped to help us. They don't know any more than we know. We know more than them. And it is a perfect example of why we should be looking back to our traditional older ways in whatever culture we're from, because we all have them, but also in looking to indigenous cultures like yours and seeing this great knowledge that's been here for thousands and thousands of years that speaks not only to the actual medicines, but to the spirituality that's connected to those. We're so busy separate, well, medicine's here and spirituality's there. No, it's like what Mr. Banyaka said. It's a spiritual solution. It's all connected.
So
Yeah,
I'll address it then. According to something called susto. Susto is a condition. In anthropology, we talk about it as a culture-bound illness in the sense that it exists throughout Latin America, but in our country, we don't recognize it as what it is, an actual illness. And the translation that's often made of susto from Spanish into English is magical fright. That something, when we experience something as a shock to our system, what happens is a part of us leaves our body. A splinter of our soul is released. And we do that in order to be able to deal with trauma. Because when something overwhelming happens, we try to protect ourselves by, in Western terms, we would say we dissociate. Because the reality that's upon us is something that we can't handle. So a part of us leaves in order to preserve that part. And while it's a strategy that somebody utilizes short term that's helpful, in the long run, it's actually harmful because some part of us is not available. Some part of our life force and our energy is no longer available. And so what somebody looks like as a result of susto is maybe they're a little bit out of it. They don't seem like they're entirely here. They may not sleep well. They may not want to eat or not eat properly. So the response is something called a soul retrieval. And that's one way to do it. And that's in a one-on-one session that somebody, the soul or that part of the soul is brought back through a variety of means of working one-on-one. But we can also approach it, as Maddi said a moment ago, as a spiritual affliction. We can look at susto as an opportunity for our own personal growth through prayer, through being present, through being more available to nature. And the irony of this illness is, what has it done? It's driven us inside of our homes. It's made us less available to the people in our community. So the things that we would normally draw strength from, we're losing out on. The way that I look at it is, it's almost like nature is telling us, oh, okay, you guys want to separate yourself from everything and everyone? I'm going to make sure you're completely separated from everything and everyone. And that's what's happened. So maybe the solution, well, I see two solutions. One is, if we've become technology driven, well, let's use that technology in the way that we are right now to share our wider spiritual community through this modern technology. But let's also make sure that we have time to be outside in nature. Let's draw strength from the natural world. Let's talk to the elements. Let's remember what we're made of, which is earth, air, fire, and water. Let's talk to Mother Earth. Let's ask her how to heal our collective illness, so that we use this as an opportunity to wake up for once in our lives.
Absolutely.
That's such a beautiful way of saying it. I think what everyone said is so important on so many levels. One is looking at, I feel like we're in a collective grief, which is how sort of Maddi started our program today, in that there is a lot of suffering that's going on, especially at least disproportionately in New York, being the epicenter, and in many other cities. There's a disproportionate number of Latino and African American people that are being afflicted, and it's revealing all of the problems in our systems and how our systems are failing us on so many levels. So one, we can totally collapse in the hopeless and the helplessness of that. But I think that if we can tether it to knowing that we have this wisdom, ancient wisdom out there, that we can kind of go within ourselves again and remember we can heal ourselves, even if we're alone, or if we have the gift of being able to reach out to community through technology, which is what we have to do now. And starting with whatever we have in our house is one thing. And I think another point would be to sit with the question of, where am I? And being alone and maybe writing that down. What are my emotions? Why am I feeling the fear? Where is the fear in my body? Where is the fear in my spirit? And what does the fear need in order to heal? And if everybody can maybe take that as an entry point for themselves to connect to what is going on their internal process. And then maybe it's exactly that. Maybe it's taking a walk in nature. Maybe it's having an aromatic plant or a tea or a bath, using whatever herbs you have in your house or salt to sort of cleanse and purify yourself and feel those emotions going down the drain, if it's a bath that you're taking or a shower you're taking in your house. And in that, giving yourself a way of prayer and reaching out to the greater universe to connect, to remember that we're always connected to that.
Absolutely.
And we're always connected to the earth. And we're connected to our ancestors, and we're connected to our community, even if we're all alone, grappling with the emotions, the fear, and the grief right now. We're in a collective experiencing that. And if we can start with ourselves, what is going on with me right now? Where is the fear in me? And use that as a movement. I think that resonates out to the greater collective, even if you're feeling it alone on your own. So.
Absolutely. That's great advice. And I think too, for those of us, I mean, I think we're sort of, for those people that are listening right now and who will listen in the future, this is sort of a plática, a heart-to-heart talk. We, you know, and I heard Mino mention that word, that it's important to, if you have people with you, your kids, your husband, your whoever's with you, or whoever you can get a hold of on social media or through the phone or however you're talking to your people, to have that heart-to-heart talk, to really recognize the susto, which is what you said, Bernadette, which is PTSD, what we call PTSD. So, you know, to really talk about that with each other, if you have the opportunity, not everybody's going to have the opportunity to talk to one of you, but we can be each other's healers. We can listen quietly to what a person is going through, especially a person we love, and then we can repeat it back to them, slow down that listening process. So it's not just I'm waiting my turn to talk. You tell me about your fear, now I'm going to sit around and tell you about my fear. You know, that's what we tend to do in our culture, but take it back to that old way of the talking stick, where listen to that person you love so much and go through that process of repeating, you know, I hear you saying, I'm listening to you, you know, and then do that back and forth. That's the simplest thing that we can do for each other, is to acknowledge that we are in pain, we are in fear, and that makes us realize that we're in this together.
Sí, sobre el asunto quisiera aportar un poco esto, lo que acaban de mencionar, el susto. Pues yo tengo en mi mano algo para mostrarle, no sé si alcanzan a verlo, ¿no? Son 3 elementos, pero uno de ellos es de color casi celeste, rosadito, y esto tiene la forma, es una piedra.
So a blue egg, a brown egg, and the obsidian egg.
Pues desde los usos de las familias, de los abuelos, han venido haciendo cada vez, entonces a veces ya se ha centralizado en uno que se llama curandero, curandera, ¿no? Pero todos somos curanderos y curanderas porque nos cuidamos para nosotros mismos. ¿Por qué no conectarlo? Muy facilito, hay que conectarlo. Hay que conectarlo y decirle, hay que pedir, agua, pamitacotena. O Diosito, o infinito, poder infinito, ayúdame a través de esto, ¿no?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so what he's saying is that the egg is something that we can concentrate on. Many people have been given those studies and they've become curanderos, and a lot of us turn to the curanderos for healing. But right now we can't turn to our healers, or we can't be in person with them. And so what he's saying is this is something that's really simple to do, something that anybody can do. And all of us can be our own curandero right now and heal ourselves. And we can put our intentions, our prayers into the egg, connect to, you know, through our prayers and our intention to Power. That's the name of God in his language, whatever people want to call Great Spirit or whatever, to connect with the infinite power. And so this is what he's doing when he's connecting with these eggs to do the work, to do clearing and healing on oneself.
Y esto es lo que trabaja para absorber.
So this is what works to absorb that negative energy.
Porque esto trabaja a 3 niveles, ¿no?
It works on 3 levels.
Sí. Es a nivel mental, a nivel
It works on the mental level,
emocional
on the emotional
y
level,
a nivel espiritual,
and
¿no?
on the spiritual level.
Y esto es prácticamente uno de los canales más eficaces que se pueda trabajar personalmente e interpersonalmente, aunque no seas curandero, pídele.
So this is one of the channels that you can use to work, but you have to talk to the elements. You have to speak to these as beings, as holy beings, to do the work. You have to treat them as that they have power. And so you have to ask the egg to assist you.
Independientemente desde la punta de la cabeza hasta la punta de los pies.
From the top of the head to the bottom of the feet.
Todos los puntos.
All of the points of the body.
Caminos,
all of the pathways.
Todos los canales.
All of the meridians.
Todos los pasos del cuerpo.
And all the steps of the body, all the levels of the body.
Se tiene que ir siguiendo.
And you just go through all of them, you follow each one of them.
Y una vez terminado, pues hay que entregarlo otra vez a la tierra.
Once
¿no?
you have finished, then you take that egg and you take it to the earth and you give it back to the earth to take that and transform it.
Pues gracias.
So thank you.
Oh, gracias. That's beautiful. These are simple things that we can do for each other, but they're so powerful. They're so big, and it empowers us. I think that's part of the problem in our culture, is that we give our power to our doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Our doctors tell us things and we say, okay, yeah, they must be right because they're the doctor. They know more than me. Mm-hmm. And so we give up our intuition. We give up our internal knowing about what we need to the doctors and the pharmaceutical companies, because this is what we've been brain and heart washed into. Mm-hmm. And this is teaching us that we can no longer do that. I think one of the great lessons of this is that it is teaching us that we are going to have to take back our power to heal ourselves. We're going to have to take our responsibility in taking care of our own health as best as we possibly can. And I do think, I have to say this, that what it's also revealing, and I am not saying this from any political point of view, but what it is revealing is that brown people and black people and red people are not as valued in this culture as white people are. And I am seeing and hearing so much about the rising death tolls among what we call minority cultures that really are not in the minority, because we have cut them off from this traditional knowledge and we've not replaced it with anything but a dependence on pharmaceuticals. And when there's no pharmaceutical to be had, when there's no doctor to treat you, and when you're even afraid to go to a clinic or go to a hospital, then these numbers are rising. And it is revealing to us some of the big problems in this hierarchical system of Western culture that is not allowing and not accepting that we have suppressed people. We are keeping people as victims, and it serves our purposes, those of us who are up there in the hierarchy. And we should all be looking at this. We really need to, as we come through this, look at how can we have more health justice? How can we have more food justice? And how can we acknowledge that these people of color have so much ancient wisdom and ancient knowledge that makes our own healthcare easier to access, because it isn't as expensive as having to buy a pill or having to pay to see a doctor. Because often these ancient ways, and the healers and curanderos, well, they should never be doing anything for free because of the concept of sacred reciprocity. You have to be involved in your own healing and be responsible for it. But that making a donation or giving something of yourself and saying, yes, I'm willing to work. I'm willing to work on my own healing. I'm willing to sit and help you. That this connection that we have with each other is so important to recognize, and not in an angry way, not in a guilt-tripping way, but in a fair, just, truthful, and loving way from the heart.
Well, once upon a time, when the elders were respected and honored, the community took care of those elders so that they didn't really have to charge people for the work that they were doing. And the way that they took care of them is they were fed, they were clothed, they were housed. So, you know, the elders were taken care of. It's now in this time that things have shifted and changed so much that the people who are doing the work and the healing, they need these donations in order to take care of themselves, because people won't bring them the things that they don't bring them the food that they need to eat, or they don't bring them, you know, the car that they need to drive. Or so this is why we need to do an exchange that's monetary nowadays. But I mean, who knows after this shift happens, or this, you know, whatever metamorphosis that we're going through, when this ends, who knows whether that'll go back, you know, how things are going to change. We'll see.
Right. And that's one thing to ask ourselves. I mean, there is a lot of stress and anxiety over the perceived collapse of this economy. So what do you replace it with? We're going to have to replace it with something. How about we start thinking about barter? How about we start really looking at Bitcoin, which, you know, kind of evens everything out according to my friends who are involved in that. How about we start looking to some of the old ways of having an economy that is more just and is more fair, instead of, you know, losing it. Of course, it's going to be hard. I'm not being unrealistic. It is hard. We are a money culture all around the world, and it's going to be extremely hard to figure out how we're more of us than have been getting through without money, how more of us have to get through without it, or what's going to change so that we don't have to get through. It's very stressful to think about that initially, but it could also be very empowering and very enlightening and very creative to start to think about, well, you know, what are we going to do next? How can we make this better? How can we have a happier world?
Yeah, and how to give to each and everybody the sense of authority, like internal authority, instead of having to run out to every authority. How about, you know, we don't need all these insurances to ensure that everything's going to go right. We're paying everything, every insurance, health insurance, car insurance, house insurance, everything is insured, just to make sure that everything we do goes right. How about we start taking responsibility for the people that we interact with? And like, this guy seems shady, I'm not going to deal with this one. This is a shady character. Why don't we teach one another, identify that? Is there a red flag going up? I don't know why I'm getting a red flag. Let's listen to that and quit, you know, giving extra money to protect us against people who do that kind of business. Exactly. No, let's start just saying, hey, I identify this one as a shady character. I'm not doing business with this one. That's my authority, and I don't need insurance to protect myself if I start paying attention like that.
Exactly. And if we start going back to some of these older ways and taking care of our health through food and plants and herbs, we're going to be spending a lot less money on healthcare as we get older, a lot less money on pharmaceuticals as we get older. It's always amazing to me to see the greed that pops up the second we have a healthcare crisis. All these drugs that once were very inexpensive, all of a sudden, now that everybody needs them, they're twice the price. That should be teaching us. That should be exactly what you just said, Bernadette. Okay, that guy over there, not dealing with that guy. This is not medicine. This is not healing us.
¿Y qué es lo que tienes en la mano? Le preguntó uno. algo dice esto.
And so he said,
Sí.
now ask yourself, what does the person have in their hand? What is this?
Eso es lo que yo tengo.
That's what he has.
Sí, es lo que uno se tiene a la mano para utilizarlo.
So this is what
El
we have in our
sheri.
hand to use, the tobacco, the sacred
Sí.
tobacco.
Esto es también parte para poder trabajarlo en lo que es la cobertura del áurea que se dice.
So
El otro yo.
this is what heals the other part of us, what we call our spiritual body or the aura of our body. And his people call the other me.
Mi abuelo decía que eso lo que viene que tú vas a luego mirarlo, ¿sí? Es porque ya te está anunciando que sí efectivamente va a llegar. Entonces hay que utilizar. Entonces utilizamos lo que es el humo.
So
¿no?
the smoke, that's what his grandpa taught him to use, was the smoke of the sacred tobacco.
Y es ¿qué es lo que tú tienes? Es el aliento,
What is it you have? It's your breath.
¿sí? Esa energía que sale.
It's this
Si
energy that leaves.
tú pones directamente que sí va a trabajar,
If you
¿sí?
say
Si va a
directly,
trabajar.
this is going to work,
Y trabaja
and you blow that breath out, it works.
y se va.
That is what's going out through
Se
that
va muy
smoke,
directo.
and it goes out directly where it needs to go.
¿Y qué es lo que tienes también? Es la mano.
And what else do you have? You have your
Sí.
hands.
Esto. Con esto se trabaja también.
And with these hands, you can work also.
Se trabaja,
They work.
sí. Y eso es para poder coberturar,
That's to put
quitar,
to cover
sacar,
and to take anything
y
that's
todo
in
lo
that
que no se
cover.
necesita en el cuerpo. Y
Everything that you don't need in
Sale.
your body, that's
Yeah.
how you take it out with the hands.
solamente eso para compartir.
This is only just another thing to share,
Oh,
another small bit to share.
gracias.
So I'd like to talk about the emotional fallout of this. And
Mhm.
it's when we try to discuss this, when we try to make sense of it, we kind of take it apart and look at it intellectually. And I think it's important for people to understand that wherever you are right now in this process
Mhm.
is okay, and that's the place to begin.
Yeah.
So rather than say, oh, I shouldn't be afraid, I
Mhm.
shouldn't be upset, I shouldn't be concerned, where we begin is exactly where we are.
Mhm.
And if I'm terrified right now,
Mhm.
that's the beginning point. The
Mhm.
beginning point is accepting that I am a conscious being. I am responding in some way to what's going on around me. And wherever I am in the process is where I begin.
Exactly.
So what are the emotions? How can I label the emotions that I feel right now in this moment?
Mm.
Jennifer also talked about grieving, and we are collectively in a state of grief.
Yes.
No different than if somebody had died. What died was everything that we were accustomed to.
Mhm.
Everything in our lives that made sense 1 month ago,
Mhm.
all of a sudden don't work anymore.
Yeah.
So part of my life was the ability to walk out my door, go wherever I want, hug whoever I want, assuming they want to hug me, but to do all these things that I took for granted. And now I can't do those. And so something died in our collective lives.
Mhm.
And this is a time of grieving. This is a time of acknowledging what is gone.
Mm.
Something else will replace it. But we have to begin with where we are right now.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob.
I think, and it's really important for people to not think that they have to do something different. I see so much. There's really a lot of craziness online. I mean, there are definitely things you should not be listening to. Like, if you're not using this time to learn something new or to watch that movie or read that book, then that you're wasting your time. No, you're not wasting your time. Just doing what Bob said, just recognizing where you are and starting from there is fine. There's no such thing as wasting our time, unless we're wasting our time hurting ourselves or somebody else. That is sad. And then that is a very difficult thing to deal with.
So where do we turn for help? Where do we turn for guidance? Well, we turn to something that's greater than ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We turn to our Creator. Mm-hmm. We turn to the power of the four directions. Mm-hmm. We turn to the elements and speak to them like they are conscious beings who are out there to help us. I like to say that they're conspiring to help us. And we can accept our own weakness, our own frailty, our own condition in asking of something greater than us to assist us in this process.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Bob. Thank you. I've been thinking about how, I'm these last days, my meditation has been so that I just connect through my breath, that I recognize that I would not be here if I couldn't breathe. If somebody were to come and just stop my breathing, I wouldn't be here anymore. And so that I know that through my breath, I am connected to another force, something that is greater than myself. And so even if somebody doesn't believe in God or creator or whatever we call the infinite source, we know that there is a breath that connects all of us, that gives each one of us who are walking on this planet right now, gives us life. And right now, because of the fear and the worry and the concern that's going on, this is what gets affected is the respiratory, but most of us don't even appreciate and don't understand how profound this breath is, how to consume it, how to bring it into our bodies. We stop. If we're very emotional, we're hardly breathing. It's shallow, the breath that we're taking. And so for me, it's been really important when I do my meditations is to make sure that I breathe so deeply that it goes to the depth of my belly. And then when I'm breathing out and releasing it, that I am giving thanks and I am saying, thank you, Creator. Thank you, God. Thank you, Mother, Father, Goddess, that we are blessed at this moment to be able to take this in and be in this space.
Sí, hay que, sí hay que entender también que la planta como planta, arbusto como arbusto o árbol como arbolito, ellos no fallan, no fallan.
So the
Sí.
plants,
Yeah.
a plant as a plant or a tree or any of these living beings that grow up that are green, they don't make mistakes. They are who they are, and they don't know how to not be who they are, so they don't make mistakes.
Están ahí.
They're
ahí.
there.
Ya, están. Pero el quien falla es uno que falla.
So the ones that
Sí.
make the mistakes, the ones that make the errors are the person who takes the plants.
¿Por qué razones? A veces uno con el ego,
Because
Yeah.
sometimes,
Dicen, no,
somebody,
yo voy a-
because of their ego, they come in and they grab these
más de lo
plants.
necesario.
They take more than
Sí,
what they need.
más de lo necesario y claro, hay alteraciones, ¿no?
And then, so, there's going to be a reaction.
Pero la planta, el árbol
But
o
the plants,
cualquiera de los
the tree,
elementos no va a fallar.
or any
no,
of the elements,
no va a
they
fallar.
don't make the errors. They don't make the
El quien falla
mistakes.
es uno.
It's the person.
Sí. Entonces, si es que está el otro hermano o la otra hermana llamado planta, árbol
So
o
when we
cualquiera de
call
los
these other
elementos,
brothers and sisters, the trees, the bush, the plants,
sí, da para nosotros como respuesta.
so when you approach me and say, will you please give me what I am asking,
Y trabaja,
then they'll work,
y trabaja.
and they will work.
A veces dice, pero ¿cómo puedo yo saber que si la planta me está hablando?
So
¿No?
how do I know as a person that the plant understands what I'm saying?
Pues sí, lo dan a través de los sueños.
They will They will give it back
en
to
el
you in the
momento
dreams,
preciso
in your
de
images,
pensar,
when you're thinking,
pero ¿por qué vino esto?
and you'll say, why did that
Sí.
come to my mind?
Es en la práctica que se va adquiriendo. Eso va avanzando,
The
de lo
more
que yo
that you
no
practice
sabía
it,
aquí.
the more
Entonces,
you will see that and understand it. It'll grow stronger for you.
entonces hay que escuchar.
And so it's important to listen.
Mm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's pretty profound when you think about focusing on our own breath, and this virus affects the breath.
Mm-hmm.
It's a respiratory illness and people's breath, it's actually being taken away from them.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe as a bigger healing, when we're connecting to our own breath, we're connecting for the breath for those that are suffering right now, who can't breathe. And in resonance with the trees and in resonance with the flowers, it's amazing if you go outside and you see it's spring, obviously. And the spring is happening despite everything that's happening in the world right now. It's continuing, it's moving. And these cherry blossoms, the trees that we see, at least in the Northeast, that are coming out, I think they're telling us so much. And it's just a simple reminder when we're in our own trauma and pain that we can go out and say, there's a continuum and this is a cycle. And the cycle will change and evolve. And if we can remember the wisdom of these plants that are just moving forward despite all the chaos, I think that is such a important teaching right now for all of us, and remembering the breath, just like Bernadette's, what is our breath telling us, and what a gift it is to be able to breathe and to hold that breath for those who can't right now.
And I think we can even take that as a metaphor for what this sickness is. And, you know, I mentioned susto before, and what does a person experience during susto? When you are absolutely scared, what's the thing that you do? You go, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And collectively, that's what's going on in this biosphere at the moment, is that humanity as a whole is going, we've lost our breath. We've literally lost our breath because this virus has removed it from us, has taken it away from us. And the people who die largely die because they can't breathe anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's so important, as we've been saying here, to appreciate, to have gratitude for every breath, because really we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and every single breath that we have right now is a gift.
Absolutely.
I want to say also that the virus didn't really take it from us. I think it's an opportunist, you know, like our culture set us up for this to come in and attack us like this. Over hundreds of years, this was created by our own consciousness. It's not an enemy. It's not a devil, because I hear people calling it a devil, or we're going to fight it. It's part of creation. It belongs here. It's been here. And it's probably been, because a lot of viruses, they lay dormant. They lay dormant until there's stress in the body. All of the viruses that ever come out of somebody's body, they usually come out when we're older. And because we're stressed, we have a lot more stresses coming into our physical bodies. And it's the same with the collective consciousness of humanity, is we have been stressed for so long that we have finally broken down our barriers, so that this virus now has the opportunity to attack so many people. And there are no walls that we can build tall enough and surround everything that will keep it out.
Exactly.
That's a perfect message that came through from nature, not from any human. Just saying, you can't build a wall tall enough. to keep us out. So I just think, there's a lot of things to being forced to be basically in a vision quest for months, is that we get to rethink. We get to go back to our original thoughts, instead of having all of these messages put into our brain and drawing us and pulling us into what they want us to think, what somebody wants. And it's usually corporations, it's capitalism, it's somebody who wants something from us, wants to enslave us. And so now we have freedom, even though we feel like we're locked up in our homes, we have freedom. Because right now we are in a position to make some big changes if we stick to it, and we don't, keep on shoving news and social media into our heads and stuffing down what we're feeling instead of allowing ourselves to feel it.
Kool-Aid.
Drink
Yeah,
it.
there you go. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
So before I close up the show, I would like you guys to be able to give your contact info. Also, for those of you watching, I'm going to post it on the Women's Oneness Project page, which is a public page. Please join the group. You'll see it there in case people want to get in touch with you after this. So, Mino and Bernadette, why don't we start with you?
Okay, our contact information is Shabeta. I think it's in the corner. I don't know if everybody can see that. Shabeta and .com. So www.shabeta.com. And if you contact us there, you'll get all of our contact information through that webpage.
Como para finalizar un poco, quizás habríamos que decir cuál es el trabajo inmediato que debemos poner en énfasis. Es decir, volver a lo que ya sabemos. Es decir, tenemos varias plantas en nuestro jardín, en el bosque también, o quizás en el área de los vecinos, las flores, por ejemplo, que nos van a ayudar a fortalecer el sistema, ¿no? No solo el sistema inmunológico, sino también la parte de lo que decimos el otro yo, el otro espíritu, es decir, el invisible para nosotros, para poder trabajar. Esto de los baños es importante porque de esto sube, eso es lo que decimos nosotros, quizás decir la seguridad o el autoestima. ¿Está bien?
So he just wanted to emphasize, that it is really us building our own self-esteem, our own security, and we can use it through the plants, through bathing ourselves, because that's what we can do right now. And he just wanted to emphasize that everything is already out in our garden, and we can take care of ourselves. We can build up our own, our self-esteem, our security.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Jennifer?
First, I just want to thank you guys so much for this show. And I do have a website. It's fullbloomhealing.com. And you can connect with me there. My email is...
Spell that, honey?
Go ahead.
Can you spell it for us?
Oh, it's full bloom, like a flower in full bloom.
Oh, okay.
So fullbloomhealing.com.
Excellent. And Bob?
I'll just give email address bobv1111@aol.com.
Excellent. So, Bobby, I hope I can go over a couple of minutes because I wanted to share with everybody. You guys know about this, but now I'm for the first time making this public. So, see that for many, many years, I have been doing mandala drawings as a form of meditation, which is a circular drawing. And when I do these, I'll always get the first two lines of a poem, and then I will write the poem, and it seems, people call it automatic writing. Some people call it channeling. My experience of it is it's like non-thinking. It's just there. So this is a poem. Of course, I've been thinking a lot about, praying a lot about what's going on in the world. This is one that I drew and wrote 2 days ago. So I typed it out so that I could read it to you because Bob and I, after I read it to him, felt like This was something people needed to hear. The wave of light, the flickering day, not knowing what to do or say. The sun that comes, the sun that goes, only Creator truly knows. The whys and wherefores of this time, the chaos turning into rhyme. So listen closely, you will hear creation whispering in your ear. You've done it your way, now it's ours to clear and rain make way for showers of cleansing truth and soul-filled light, of knowing beauty in the night. With open hearts and with open eyes and open hearts, you'll see this grace and play your part to bring about a life renewed, a life that's lived for them and you. We're all a part of this great plan. We're all a part of what is man and woman and child and bird and beast. We're all a part, not one is least. Abundance here is not a thing. Abundance is what makes you sing, what makes you laugh, what makes you dance. Abundance means you take a chance to be the wholeness you can be, to know yourself and truly see connections to life all around, and know that here love can be found. For love is our Creator's hand. It's here to show we cannot stand without the other holding strong. Without the other, there's no song to sing about the joy of life, to build a world where without strife, we stand to make a place of light. We start to see ourselves as night, and shining through our darkness comes the soul of love where we are one. The spark of light, the sound of bells that leads us inside to expel the poison teachings of the past, the thought that we will never last. Release the dark, release the gloom. You need not stay within that tomb. With love and kindness, you will see the way that we were meant to be. Compassion's heart, compassion's light will bring the other into sight, and you will see that we are one around the world beyond the sun.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Arrive, son que maro aí dentro. Masha aranhava carre a pata. No pé da nare Ashéninka mina. Arrive, cara runyak.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Love you all. Love you all out there listening.
love
Wherever you are. You are our family. You are our love. You are our light.
Oh, love you.
Thank you so much, Bobby Lucera, and everybody at Strong Island Entertainment and Strong Island Radio, and especially thanks to you guys for taking the time to do this.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank
Bye. Love you.
Thank you.
Love you too.
Love you.